So in this video, we're going to talk about how to invest $1,000 in 2020. This is Jake Ducey with I Love Prosperity, and let's dive right into this video. So how to invest $1,000 in 2020. First of all, you got to realize $1,000 is not a lot of money at all. I hate to break it to you. And with the economic instability in the world, the Federal Reserve's answer for everything is to lower interest rates, which all it actually does is make money cheaper for very rich people and very rich companies to borrow, which makes money more of a commodity because it increases the amount of money in the circulation. And if you are working for $20 an hour year after year, or you make $60,000 a year, whatever the number is, that amount of money is worth less and less and less over time. Because if money is cheap, easy to borrow for rich people, and there's therefore of it a lot more of it in circulation, and they keep printing more of it, it increases the cost of houses, it increases the cost of rent, it increases the cost of mortgage, even if the principal and interest are low. And so what happens is everything gets more expensive, but what happens is the income isn't actually growing. So you need to realize, first of all, that $1,000 isn't very much money. I'm not trying to be mean, it's just the honest truth. The second thing you need to do before you consider investing $1,000 is you have to build an emergency fund. Start with 3 months, go to 6, work your way to 12. And at a minimum, I suggest 6 months before you consider even moving on to legitimately investing your money. This is very important for a lot of reasons. One, we're in such an incredible time of overexpansion. We're ripe for a bubble pop in the equities markets. And the trouble is that most people are literally one paycheck away from broke. And you're seeing this now with the coronavirus. It's really scary for a lot of people because you could lose a job. You could go 2 weeks where we're all on quarantine and people don't have money coming in. There's so many things that could happen outside of the coronavirus. You could just lose your job, right? And you don't have any money. And so what happens is we forget the most important first step. You need to invest in your own mental stability. And the quickest way you're going to get it is to build your first 3 to 6 months of money. So real quickly, you can just do an approximate on how much it costs every single month. You can add your mortgage or your rent. You can roughly add up just an approximation. It doesn't need to be down to the exact last penny, but an approximation on how much for 1 month. And then ask yourself, how much do I have saved? It said the average American doesn't have $500 for an emergency. So ask yourself, what do I need to get to my first 3 months to buy myself some breathing room? Everybody should have this, and if you can, work your way to 6 months. Okay, so once you've built a nest egg that gives you at least a basic level of security through perhaps a 90-day unexpected limbo that happens globally or just something that happens professionally in your workplace. The next most important thing, and in reality it's probably the most important thing, is invest it into a business or additional income. The most valuable thing that you have is income, not capital. So you need to use your capital to get more leverage with your income. So you might have a present job that pays you $12 an hour, or it pays you $100,000 a year. It doesn't matter what the number is, it's all relative. But in addition to that, you need to start to build multiple sources of income. The richest people in the world have sometimes thousands and thousands of sources of income. Middle class and people that are in poverty generally have one source of income from a job. The problem with this is there's only 24 hours in a day. So you don't have leverage for significant growth in your income. To top it off, if you make $60,000 a year, which is what they say the average household income in America makes. So if you make that every year for your working life, the problem is money is so cheap with artificially low interest rates, and they're printing so much money, they won't call it quantitative easing anymore, but the Federal Reserve prints money to push liquidity into the markets, to prop the markets up and make them seem better than they are. So what that means is that there's actually a decrease in the power of your money. So that $60,000 is worth less and less and less. That's why people say, a dollar ain't what it used to be. It's true. That's why things are more expensive than they used to be. Because if you build a huge asset bubble in houses, then the rents are going to be more expensive. It's going to cost more to buy the home. And so what happens is, if you're not prepared with additional sources of income, then what happens is you get left behind. In fact, if you ever want to create legitimate financial freedom, especially in a quick period of time, the only way to do it is to build additional sources of income that are ultimately leveraged income. So you move away from just $20 an hour, $12 an hour. Doesn't mean you quit your job. You keep that thing going, but in your free time, you invest that $1,000 into some type of a business that ultimately divorces you from time. So let's say that we'll use a really basic example. Let's say that you work as a massage therapist at Massage Envy, and you get paid, I'm just making a number up, $10 an hour. Okay, great. That money can allow you to put your nest egg away. Maybe it allows you to pay your rent and whatnot. And let's say that's your best skill and you're really good and you have this really good system of massage. Okay, well, what if you could spend your $1,000 to learn a little bit about online digital marketing and to develop your skill set to the marketplace? So you take your same occupation and you move to $50 an hour. You keep your job, but in your free time, you do massage work on your own for $50 an hour. Okay, that is going to give you additional income, but it's also the problem that you're still going to run into is a fixed amount of time that you have, 24 hours in a day. But if you can learn digital marketing, if you can learn how to acquire clients, what you could do is you can employ other people. So what Massage Envy does to you, which is they bring the client and they take the majority of the money, you could do to other people. Give them an opportunity. You could pay them more than Massage Envy pays them. All of a sudden, you could get paid while you sleep. You could get paid while you eat. And this is a very simple hypothetical example, but this is available to do for all types of businesses. In addition to that, another way you could look at it is to be involved in profit share. So even if you didn't think of the business on your own, what you could do is be involved in the actual profit share of the business. So let's say you were great at sales, but you didn't have any ideas, but your friend had an idea and your friend was a great visionary, an engineer or whatever they were, but they didn't know how to sell. Okay, you could come in and share in the profits of the opportunity, provide your skill, and you could provide utility to the marketplace with your skill of sales, and you're involved in the profits. So this is raising your income ceiling. So with $1,000, people say, well, you should buy Vanguard Index Fund with $1,000. You should buy Tesla stock. It's $1,000. What you need to do, and the good thing is a lot of businesses you can start with no money down. But what you need to do is grow your income first. When you start to, the biggest problem people have isn't their investments, it's the lack of growth in their income. So start to think about how you can raise the ceiling on your income. So comment down below, I must grow my income. Comment down below, I must grow my income. And if you're still watching, make sure you hit the like button right over there to continue to send this video out into the YouTube universe. So comment down below, I must grow my income. You have to raise your income ceiling. And $1,000 that you have put away to invest might be the key to more long-term freedom if you invest it back into creating more income for yourself, especially into a leverage or scalable system that allows for a higher income ceiling. Now, last but not least, in the most traditional way, in most of the videos of this type of title is about like certain stocks you should pick with your $1,000 or whatnot. So if you have focused on additional sources of income, you've mapped out a plan, which I invite you to pull out a piece of paper right at the top of it, additional sources of income, come up with your 10 best ideas, then focus on the ones that could produce the most immediate cash, ultimately develop a long-term business model that will allow for scalability or for you to hire other people So let's say you've done all that and you're growing your income. So then you say, but Jake, I want to invest into the stock market or whatever it is. You can't, with $1,000 realistically, you're not going to be able to buy any real estate. So let's just X that one out. Let's say we're talking about stocks. You need to first read the book, The Intelligent Investor. More now than ever today, Benjamin Graham wrote this book. Warren Buffett says the greatest investment book ever written. And I just finished another read of that book the other day, and I was appalled because exactly what he warns is happening in our economy right now. All these people are buying all these companies that don't have earnings. You need to think of buying stock as if buying a piece of a business. Today, more than ever, we have a bunch of zombie companies. We have a bunch of ghost companies. They don't have earnings, but people are buying them. So if I came to you and I said, look, I've got this fantastic business. We've been around for 10 years. We don't make any money. Would you like to invest $10,000 into it? What would you say? Get out of my face. That's what you would say. What if I said, look, I've got this great idea. It actually loses money every month, but it's going to be $1 trillion. You want to invest in it? Well, that's what's happening today. We're having left and right businesses that are being sold in stocks, and a lot of people are buying them that either don't have earnings, their earnings are terrible, or they're entirely negative. They're not even making money, yet they're being sold. So there's actually a time now where stock prices are totally divorced from the actual value of the company. When you buy a stock, you are buying into a business. So if you're gonna buy stock, you need to take the time for a few minutes and type in on Google, like let's say for instance, you were gonna buy, I'm making something up, you were gonna buy OtterBox. I don't even know if that's probably not a stock company, but that's the name of this. So you would need to go online and you would need to type in on Google, OtterBox price per earnings. So you need to look at the price of the stock versus the earnings. And what's happening is people are buying stocks today simply because they're going up. Not because the company is an attractive business or because it's producing good earnings versus the price of the stock. So the problem with that is it creates a bubble in the market. And that bubble, anytime you have more money going into things that have less utility, ultimately that bubble pops. My point is, if you're gonna invest $1,000 in 2020 into the marketplace, into stocks, you need to buy things that actually have an attractive business, not a popular brand name, not something where the stock is going up. You have to actually look and spend time and say, okay, does this have a positive earnings? Is it negative? Okay, why would I ever buy a business with a negative earnings? You wouldn't. But that's what's happening today. So make sure you look at the actual earnings reports of companies. It's not something that will take you long. In today's world on the internet, there are tons of websites that actually break down and they'll give you very clear estimates how much a company should be priced on the stock market versus their earnings and what they're at in actuality. And I recommend you read the book, The Intelligent Investor. So this is Jake Ducey with I Love Prosperity, and we talked about how to invest $1,000 in 2020. So if you dig this video, make sure you hit the like button right over there on the side and send this out into the YouTube universe. I hope this actually prompts you to take massive action and to start to put a plan together to develop multiple and additional sources of income, especially ones that raise your income ceiling and bring in leverage and scalability. This is the ultimate way to invest in your own freedom. A lot of times when we hear the word invest, we just think of stocks. But the very first and most important thing is to get your income up. And if you can divorce yourself from trading it directly for time, or at least raise your income ceiling by 20%, 30%, 50%, 100%, what happens is you start to have a lot more money and your time starts to produce a lot more money. Hopefully, things that are even independent of your time because you've leveraged other people, systems, or softwares. So make sure you hit the like button on this video right over there to send it out into the YouTube universe. Comment down below multiple sources of income. Comment down below multiple sources of income to make sure you grasp that, raise your income ceiling, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification right over there. The bell notification is what notifies you for new videos. Even if you're already subscribed, just double check, have you actually hit the bell notification right over there on the side, because that's what's gonna notify you for new videos. So on this channel, I named it I Love Prosperity, and I would say the mission is helping you secure your financial independence and your financial security in a changing world. And today we're in a world where there's more money in circulation than ever. Money is cheaper than ever. So the problem with this is if you are not growing your income, you will ultimately get left behind and you won't be able to buy and afford the lifestyle you've been accustomed to, even if you work the same amount of hours. So make sure that you raise your income ceiling. And this was how to invest in 2020. Give this a like if you enjoyed this video.